Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the Panzer 38H or Aklansieig H. It's the Tier 2 German premium light tank, and it's located on the north spawn of Ensk, and this one is under the command of ProvoBob, and this is one of the tanks that he got in his Christmas loot boxes. Game on! Well, this used to be one of the most feared tanks at Tier 2, mainly because it's got so much armour. It's basically known as the Mini Mouse. It's a Hotchkiss 35 captured by the Germans and re-armoured, so it actually has a lot more armour and a better engine as well. Now, despite the fact that it is a French tank, it is very vulnerable when you look at the armour profile. In fact, it used to be the only thing that could actually destroy Hotchkiss 35 was another Hotchkiss 35, but when they brought TDs in, that's when this thing became vulnerable, because certain tank destroyers can certainly damage it. Now, he's in a Tier 2 game with Tier 1 tanks in it, and he's tearing that max medium 1 apart. He's got a 37mm gun, capable of 40 alpha and penetrating 41mm of armour. It also has APCR as premium rounds, and as you can see here, if I can get that to go down, the market's actually 64mm of pen with the APCR, and with the HE rounds you can do 45 alpha, so just a little bit more, and only 18mm of pen. But on some of these Tier 1 tanks you can easily pen them. Now, it's a reduced numbers name, and he's already got his first kill, that medium. He's now hunting some more down. This does have a formidable reputation, the Mini Mouse, and I wondered when they put this into the loot boxes, is this really going to be fair? Because a lot of noobs will be joining the game and they'll be coming up against this tank, and it is so dangerous for noobs. It is a bit of a, you might say, a seal clubber, although there's a great temptation to use premium rounds, but he just got hit there by Cruiser 1 who managed to penetrate him for 86, well, two shots at pen, and he's returning the favour now. This tank tends to have fairly good penetration. It's not great, but it is good enough for the job. And the fire rate, well, normally that's 2.29 by the book, and you can see ProvoBob's got 2.24. He was following that M2 light and thinking about going after him. So yes, this is not a great tank to have in the loot boxes if you are a noob to the game. Because some of these players he's coming up against, they might have only just joined the game, and they're already coming up against something so heavily armoured as this. There he goes, just got the Cruiser 1. And he managed to block the shots that came from that guy, except for those two shots right at the start. Now he's onto a light Pz 35. I actually managed to get a collar ban off in that little tank, the light Pz 35. It's a handy little Czech tank, the light Pz 35. A lot of them saw service in Russia. Now, he did receive fire, and that was a standard AP round from that light Pz. But that is another Tier 2 tank, and it is a bot as well. And his potential is he could do almost as much damage. We've got very thin armour. He is firing back. ProvoBob's now been ammo-racked, which is a problem, and he switched to the premium rounds to try and get rid of the light Pz 35, and he gets him. There are a lot of bots in this game, so he's not seal clubbing at all, he is actually bot clubbing. But it's a fun game all the same. The amount of damage this thing can do is phenomenal. And there goes another one. He hasn't switched out of APCR. He should have, because Reno Otsu, he could easily take out with standard ammo. And the enemy's capping, so he's going to have to head all the way back to deal with him. whoever's capping. Oh, took a round from an MS1. Now they have got fairly good penetration. M2 Light, well, he's going to suffer if he stays around. The M2 Light is not a bot. Yep, that's a real player. I suspect that whoever's capping is a bot. In fact, I'm certain it's a bot because I know from the names. Or is that so? Actually, no, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the killer of 5 tanks is the one that we need to watch out for. There's an MS1, no, that's the one he saw, so that can't be right. So it must be a bot that's capping. Must be. The MS1 is following him. That guy's got 5 kills, but he's a one-shot. Hello, goodbye. Yeah, unfortunate that he should have chosen to ambush ProvoBob, because the thing is that ProvoBob's got too many hit points. But it looks like they're going to lose by capping out, because oh no, the enemy stopped capping. Either somebody got a reset. There's that M2 Light again. That's a live player. Oh, and he's taking fire. This must be the guy who's capping, the Cruiser 1. And he came out the cap to try and kill ProvoBob, who's the last one alive on his team. And there goes the last bot. The only two... Oh no, there's one bot left, the FT. So it's only the M2 is the real player. And whoever's capping, well, that's the FT capping, it must be. Couldn't be anyone else. In fact, actually, he could sit outside the cap and just fire at the FT to... and he's still firing APCR. He doesn't need that at all. He'll pen the FT with just standard AP. He can sit outside the cap and just let the FT cap and just keep resetting him every now and then. And the M2 Light's doing his best. The M2 Light player has a kill, but I don't think he has enough penetration to actually get through ProvoBob's hull. It's just too strong. You'll see when I show you the armor profile how strong this thing is. No, he tried to go through the metal post there. And oh, he's tracked us. He's tracked us. Now the M2 Light's just going to hover in that position, and oh no, don't run away, run away. Yes, the M2 Light almost forgot to run away at that point, and the FT's doing his best, but there's not much he can do at this distance. Hello, and that's the end of the last player on the enemy team. As we know, this is a bot. It's got a colon in front of and behind. One more shot, end the game, and there you go. Just goes to show how powerful the mighty mouse can be. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was the second class tanker for ProvoBob in the Panzer 38 H, so Acton Leipzig H. It's his first time he's had a second class tanker actually in this tank. In fact, this may be the first game he's ever played in it. He got a 5 for effect for doing more damage than the hit points of his own vehicle. Sharpshooter for getting 10 or more consecutive shots on the enemy. A shell proof for blocking more damage than the hit points of his own vehicle. Master Gunner for getting 5 armor penetrating shots in a row. Not difficult with this one. As well as a duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him. A Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He got 6 in this one. And he also got a cool headed for surviving 10 or more ricochets, non-penetrating shots in a row. Well, everyone was trying to penetrate him, but very few were actually getting through. He got the high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game. A top gun for getting at least 6 kills. In fact, he managed to get 8 in total. There was only 10 in the game, so he killed all but 2 of the enemy team. But no Kolobanov, no Radley Walters medals, simply because you don't get that below tier 5, and this is tier 2. And he did get a steel wall as well for receiving at least 11 hits, surviving the battle, having the most damage, or block damage in the game. Let's have a look at team score. Oh, before that, the win rate, 11,666. Well, yeah, the number of the devils was somebody, probably most of the bots actually. Let's have a look at the figures, and we can see that the highest damage in the game was 1,440, and that was ProvoBob. The second highest damage was the MS1, and he was a live player. 1,152 went to Hisha. Not sure who he is, but he managed to get a win rate of 10,821. Just made the mistake of trying to chase after ProvoBob and not choosing his moment to ambush him or shoot at him from a distance. And the third highest damage went to the M2 Lite, who tried valiantly to try and penetrate Bob, but just couldn't. The Bloody Baron is his name. It just couldn't get through. And I think the M2 Lite is one of the tanks that's actually on in the loot boxes. If I'm wrong, I think it might be. But yes, that's another loot box, I think. When it came to kills, ProvoBob easily got the highest score. He got 8, but the MS1 managed to get 5 kills. And when it came to base XP, Bob's got that one as well. So he's got the top in all 3 columns. 1,330 went to Bob. And the next highest scorer was, in fact, the MS1 with 377, followed by the M2 Lite. So the 2 players on the enemy team, 2 real players on the enemy team, actually did do rather well, considering they were up against the Mighty Mouse, which is very, very difficult to kill. In fact, what you have to do most games is, if you do have a mouse in the game, you have to find somebody on the team who knows how to take them down, or at least has a gun which can easily penetrate the M2, the Mini Mouse, because there are certain guns out there that will do it. But in that game, I don't think the enemy really had anything other than the Cruiser 1 with premium ammo. He would have been able to easily penetrate Bob, and he did get 2 rounds in, but that just wasn't enough in the end. Let's have a look at the detail report. It's 58 shots fired, 47 direct hits on the enemy, 40 penetrations. He was using too much APCR really towards the end of the game. And if you were to use nothing but APCR, you probably wouldn't make a profit on this tank. 1,440 hit points of damage, all of it done at close range. He received 133 hits from the enemy, but only 5 of them got through, and 2 of those definitely came from the Cruiser 1, and I think there were a few other tanks who also managed to penetrate him. The Light Viz 35, I think, penetrated him twice. 128 non-penetrations, 1,939 hit points of damage, blocked by armor. 2 enemy vehicles spotted, 8 enemy vehicles damaged, 8 killed, and 51 hit points of spotting assist. Plus, he managed to get 2 defense points by resetting the FT in the cap. He earned 23,565 credits for the battle, 68,063 for completing holiday ops. It's 91,628 credits altogether. And here's the kicker. Look at that ammunition cost, because he didn't switch back to APCR, and he could have, and he still would have penetrated those enemy tanks without it. He actually ended up losing a lot of credits, and he went, well, not losing overall, he actually ended up with only 54,775. So, but for holiday ops, he would have made a loss overall, because holiday ops, the battle was only 23,000. His ammunition cost was 33,600. So this is one of the things you have to watch out for in the Mini Mouse, is when you don't have these bonuses around to help you, you can actually lose credits, and lose a lot. 1,995 XP times 2 for the first victory, 1,397 for this being a premium vehicle, and 5,387 experience points altogether. Let's have a quick look at the armor profile. Yes, it's red. Yeah, it's very difficult to penetrate this thing, even with the 37mm gun that you actually have on the mouse itself. But the mouse is about the only thing that will bring down a mouse if they use premium ammo. You can see that the frontal plate, the upper plate, is 40mm thick, but with the angling comes out about 44. That lower plate area, well, in fact, actually, is that the... Yes, because there's 2 bits to it. There's where it actually angles. The lower plate area is 40mm, but it's only 44.6. The upper plate area, 40mm, nearly 46. Then you've got this weak spot here, which is only 30mm, but coming out at 66. It's so well angled that, as you can see there, That's why it's just going to block the shells. Here's the driver's area, 40mm coming out, about 40mm, but it'll stop most tier 1 and tier 2 tanks. It won't stop tier 3 though, that's the problem. And the mantlet, although it looks good with 15 spaced armor of 15mm and 40mm, it can still be penetrated even though it looks as if it's fairly strong. It's got 40 and 40 there. The hull, the turret as well, 40mm. You can see the Germans just built up the armor all the way around, really, basically, on this vehicle. You can penetrate it with Arty. This is one of the best ways to bring down a mini mouse. You just splatter it with Arty from above, and the FTBS and all the other tier 2 Artys will easily defeat a mini mouse. They just overwhelm it with HE and take it down. Let's have a quick look at the live model. Oh, wrong one. There you go. There's the live model, and just look at that. It's so strong. Whatever angle you look at it, you say, oh my gum, it's a strong thing. It's just covered in armor. The Germans really did increase the armor on this to an extent that made it invulnerable almost. So a quick look at the modules. One of the biggest problems with the mini mouse is that there's only 2 crew, the driver and the commander gunner stroke loader. And so you've got the driver up front. On the left hand side, as you look at it, you've got the transmission running from the engine at the back to the front, right in front of him, but it's just underneath his legs. We can see the engine at the back. There's fuel tanks only on one side, so you can only set fire to it if you're on its right side as you're looking at it now. The engine being on the other side, you'll just get engine damage. The ammo rack is right next door to the commander on either side, but it's on the hull, not in the turret. And of course the commander is sitting just alongside it. He's directly underneath that that cupola, so you know where you want to aim if you want to take out the commander, and there's a viewport as well for him. So that's where all the modules are. Radio, wait, right down below. Not that that's going to be much use anyway, and it's right behind the driver. So that was a fun game to see, because it's the first game I've seen with the Panzer Achtung H. I keep messing up the name, actually. It is the Panzer Achtung. The true name to it, the H being Hotchkiss, so it's a French tank. I mean, the T ones were the Czech ones, and the H one was because it was a Hotchkiss tank. So yes, it's the first one I've seen this season, but it probably won't be the last. I expect other people who've got the mini mouse will actually take theirs out for a run, and hopefully we'll get a game where there's a lot of light tanks involved, maybe tier 2, tier 3 game. It'd be interesting to see how one of these copes in a tier 3 game. I suspect that it won't cope very well, but it'll be interesting nonetheless. If you enjoyed that replay, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, and thank you for watching.